Was the game of the year the first game of the season between OKC and Houston in a double OT thriller? We also had vintage Steph Curry beating Luka Doncic. The NBA season is here, and we're covering it all on Locked On NBA Game Night. Let's go.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Tipping off now.
Welcome to another edition, another season of Locked On NBA Game Night, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We are covering every single game across the association this season right here on this show. We are 7 days a week. On Wednesdays, I'm your co-host, Jake Madison, at NOLA Jake on Twitter, the host of the Locked On Pelicans podcast.
And I'm John Karalis, at John_Karalis on Twitter, host of the Locked On Celtics podcast.
John, the season is here. We get to talk about it. What an opening night, by the way.
So good. So good.
It was incredible. If you didn't stay up late, you missed out. You might have missed part of the Laker game too. So we'll recount that for you because we had double overtime between the Houston Rockets and Oklahoma City Thunder. It was a lot of fun. I can't wait to dive into it. We got a great show for you. Breaking down the Thunder, the Rockets, and that Steph and Luka battle. And of course, thank you for making Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day, 7 days a week. We will not miss a game across the association this season. Make us your first listen every day to catch up on what you need to know. And let's just dive right into it, John, because the games were fun. And let's start with the Oklahoma City Thunder outlasting the Houston Rockets 125-124 double overtime. Let's start with the victors here in the Oklahoma City Thunder, and let's go over to Locked On Thunder for their take.
Oklahoma City Thunder win one of the best regular season games you're ever going to watch. I'm Rylan Stiles, host of Locked On Thunder. It was SGA who closed it out in double overtime at the free throw line. He came alive in the fourth quarter to propel this team back to beat Houston in the season opener, a game that had everything: ceremonies, drama, Chris Webber's appearance with Kevin Durant calling a timeout when they didn't have any. Luckily for Houston, they didn't call it, and so we got gifted a second overtime, and it delivered in a big way. These are two of the best defenses in the league, two of the best teams in the league, and these two teams made for an interesting game with their defensive prowess on both ends. Each offense labored to find a groove offensively. It resulted in a thrilling contest that you're never going to forget. But the Thunder get it done without J-Dub and with Chet Holmgren fouling out. SGA brought them home with pivotal clutch buckets after pivotal clutch buckets, and the Thunder win in this game. More at Locked On Thunder after this.
Yeah, he nailed it, right? Like, this was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the fourth quarter in the two overtime, straight up just taking over, repeatedly going isolation against the Houston Rockets and their good defense and delivering. He finished with 35 points on the night, despite shooting 1 of 9 from three. It's going to help when you get to the line 14 times, make 10 of those. Yeah, he picked up right where he left off last season.
Yeah, look, you had a lot of heroes in this game. I'm going to say it starts with Chet Holmgren because Shai did his damage. Like, he had the 35 points, but 26 of those came after the third quarter, right? So you had the fourth quarter and two overtimes where he scored 26 of 35, which means 9 points through quarters 1 through 3, and the Thunder were still right there. How do you hang in? It's because Cason Wallace was out there just playing incredible defense. It was, the Chet Holmgren show early. So typical Thunder team effort until SGA gets it going, and then he does what he does. He gets downhill, he gets to the line, and he kind of closed the door. I think the Thunder won this game because they were able to turn the Rockets over in a big way. 25 turnovers for 28 points. The Rockets were so big that going up against a set defense and a lot of zone, they just weren't able to get into the middle. But in the third quarter, when Cason Wallace was really starting to be disruptive and the Thunder were really starting to be disruptive, they got the Rockets out of their comfort zone. And then once you start to break that zone defense, that's where SGA gets to get into the middle of things. And they're too big, too slow. You saw a couple of instances where Steven Adams was too tired to rotate and SGA is just too good, and he totally took advantage of that.
Yeah, when you saw that kind of just jumbo dual big, almost 3 big starting lineup for the Houston Rockets.
5 big starting lineup for these guys.
Yeah, basically just everybody is big in that starting lineup, truthfully, when you think of it. They have Kevin Durant listed as like a guard, which kind of tells you all you need to know right there for all of that. Right? Like that's where I was like, oh, OKC might be able to take advantage of this. And then kind of wasn't early, and they had to kind of like figure it out. They, Daigneault even coming into the second half benched Hartenstein and started Alex Caruso there, trying to kind of take advantage and play a little bit smaller and see. And it was just kind of a bit of a struggle for a while. Chet Holmgren, though, you mentioned him, star of the first half for OKC, 28.7 boards, 2 made threes. He was really good in this game. And they did this all without J-Dub here. There's still a problem.
Still a problem. Yeah. Look, there's still a problem. Chet comes out hot, hits his first, I believe, 8 shots. Then he goes cold for a little while, and then he picks it up right up again in I think it was in the first overtime where he hits a couple of buckets. So they are still capable of doing this in waves. And I think the thing that impresses me the most about the Thunder, and this is they did this leading up to their championship, and winning the championship, I think, just enhances this coolness that they have where, okay, I don't have it going, you have it going. That's cool. We can't hit a shot. They were 1 for 7 in the first quarter from 3,
terrible,
4 of 13 from 3. This is why the Rockets were able to sit back in a zone and take that early lead into halftime, because you just dare them to shoot, and they were trying to shoot over the top of the zone, and they couldn't hit shots. But they just never let that rattle them at all. And it is, I think, SGA head of the snake saying, hey, no problem. We got plenty of basketball left. And you get to that fourth quarter, you got 12 minutes left, still time to make your run. You do. Hey, overtime, no problem. We're at home. We can do what we need to do. But credit to the Thunder for, it doesn't matter who it is, they're willing to just kind of let the game dictate who's going to step up, and having that coolness to know plenty of time, and when the big dog needs to take over, he knows exactly when to do it.
Yeah, I was impressed how they kind of came out in the second half kind of searching for answers and seemed to find them. I think Caruso getting in there let them force some more turnovers. They were able to get out and run and get some of those great, easy, fast break points that they need. When you don't have your 3-point shot falling, you've got to find ways to kind of get efficient offense, and that's definitely going to do it. And then you just let Shai Gilgeous-Alexander take you home, and that's going to be that. What do you think? We'll talk about the Rockets next. What do you think about the Kevin Durant calling the timeout, but it not being awarded, and thus we avoided a crazy ending that would have overshadowed an awesome game?
So I think that's an easy one for the refs to kind of ignore. I think NBA history has a lot of those kind of in there.
Probably.
And look, you can argue that technically he wasn't demonstrably calling the timeout. Like, he wasn't like people talk about Chris Webber. When you do that, when you're big and like timeout, you have to say, we're going to blow the whistle on that. KD kind of was like, do we have one? And he kind of was like kind of timidly.
It was
right?
timid. You could see that. Yeah.
And so the refs could be like, oh no, I didn't see any of that. The officials are not going to let that determine the result of what was an awesome game. I think you have to actually give credit. I know maybe people in OKC would be like, no, you don't give them credit for that. I think you do, because they are aware of the game. They are aware that this was an amazing back and forth battle. They weren't going to let a brain fart by Kevin Durant ruin that. They were going to let the players, you know how you say let the players decide?
Yeah, this is what I agree with that.
They let the players decide.
Let the players do it. It would have completely overshadowed the game.
Yeah,
That's what we would have led with, right? If they got free throws from that or something, it was a technical foul. We would have led with that, and then the whole conversation would have been around the refs. And here, at least, it's like relegated, and we're letting the game, the players, the teams shine as like that's what we all want. Maybe the refs miss this, but at the end of the day, you want this decided on the basketball court in live play as opposed to another way. So let's hit into double overtime ourselves for this game.
Yes.
And talk a little bit more about
it.
Let's look
more
at it.
time to settle this.
This one was so much fun. Let's look at it from the Rockets perspective. That's coming up here next in today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by Prize Picks. Every day we make decisions, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football and basketball season with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Playing Prize Picks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football and basketball. You just pick more or less on player projections, like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander having more than 28.5 points, or Chet Holmgren for having more than 7.5 rebounds. And you're just right in the game. And I love how quick it is. You can make your lineup in under a minute. And my favorite part, Prize Picks just added stacks. So if you want to ride with a player, you can select their points, their rebounds, their assists, like Luka Doncic, all in one lineup. And it's also fun to follow other players on the app and copy their lineups with one click. So download the Prize Picks app and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by Built. Nobody likes paying rent, but if you must, you might as well get something for it. And that's where Built comes in. Built is changing the game by turning your rent payment into real rewards that you can actually use. So when you pay rent through Built, you earn flexible points that can be redeemed towards hundreds of hotels and airlines, a future rent payment, your next Lyft ride, and more. But Built isn't just about rent. It's about rewarding you around your entire neighborhood. I love that with Built, your rent finally works for you. You're earning points every month on something you already have to pay, and use it in your neighborhood. Whether you're grabbing food at your favorite local restaurant or heading to the gym, you're still earning rewards. So Built has made everyday life feel more rewarding, from your neighborhood to your travel plans. So turn your rent into rewards and start earning points around your neighborhood by going to joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNBA. That's JOINBILT.com/LockedOnNBA. Make sure to use that link so they know we sent you over at joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNBA. And thank you for making Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. We are here 7 days a week covering everything you want to know about the association here. So please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Join us on YouTube as well and become an everydayer. That means you listen every single day to Locked On NBA Game Night. John, my second listen, it's definitely Locked On Thunder. That game was too much fun. I want more of this. I'm going to make Locked On Thunder my second listen today.
How about Locked On Rockets?
Locked On Rockets is a great one too. And we're about to talk the Houston Rockets here, losing in double overtime, 125-124 to the Oklahoma City Thunder. You want to start with Kevin Durant? You want to start with Şengün?
I want to start with the end, the clutch play.
Yeah.
Because it just feels like the reason why they got Kevin Durant was because in these situations, they didn't have the go-to guy in the clutch. And I didn't see enough Kevin Durant to be satisfied with, like, I feel like, well, this is why you got him. Why didn't you use him more? I think he was too much of a decoy. I know he had Lou Dort covering him a lot, but they never, like, only once did we see an actual screen that cleared Lou Dort off of Durant, and Durant actually made something happen. It was a pick and roll. I think he dropped it off to Şengün for a bucket. Why couldn't we see more of that? I think he was just too content to stand off to the side and be like, I'll be off here and I'll pull Lou Dort here and you guys play 4-on-4.
When you watch them last season, and particularly in the postseason, they needed more self-creation in clutch situations, in late game situations. And Kevin Durant maybe is one of the best guys we've ever seen at that. So as you said, use him. Like, let him go and get you buckets across overtime in the fourth quarter. He only had 6 points. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 24. It's a pretty stark comparison there, I think. And it just seemed like for someone who's so plug and play like Kevin Durant, right? Like it's not like you need to figure out how to use him or get him in there. It's freaking Kevin Durant. You just play him. It's kind of that simple. That was pretty disappointing to see, right? Like you saw a lot of like Reed Shepherd, I thought, who was terrible in this game, terrible offensively, getting hunted defensively. And it's like, why is he having a higher usage rate right now than Kevin Durant is? And why is he using these possessions? I just thought the whole game plan around that was just a little bit weird.
It was weird. And I know Şengün had matchups, and that's fine. Let Şengün attack his matchups. He had a great game overall, 39 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. What a monster game from him, but he's not your closer necessarily. I can appreciate
it was at times in this one, but yeah, it should be Durant.
Well, I can appreciate a team going to different guys and being like, hey, in this situation, if Şengün has the matchup, sure, let's spam that thing. Okay, no problem. But how about, I don't know. I would just rather see some involvement with Durant. I didn't even need Durant taking the shots. I don't think he needs to be the guy. It's like, okay, he needs to take every shot. But I think there's a more effective way to use him than stand him away from the play and play 4-on-4 and give those other guys, give Amen Thompson some space, give Şengün some space. But I don't know. I think there's a better way to use the gravity of Kevin Durant.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm with you here too on that one. It just seemed like not the way to use Kevin freaking Durant, in my opinion, right? Like, it's also game one. They're still going to figure some of this out, but you would have hoped that this is the exact reason they traded for him, gave him that extension, and you don't get to kind of show him off. What did you think of Thompson in this game? 18 points on 8 of 17 shooting. He was 0 for 7 from 3 here. I still thought he looked good. You saw the point guard in him in this one, and seeing that growth from him should kind of scare the rest of the league.
Sure. And I think it's a work in progress for sure. I mean, he was 0 of 7 from 3. Mm-hmm. So that's a problem. He's going to need to hit some of those shots. I like that they were going to that. And I like that he's learning that. And I think eventually he'll be able to do that a little bit more cleanly. But I still don't trust it. I didn't see enough to be like, okay, this is the answer. There's a reason why Reed Shepherd was there, handling
so bad.
Yeah. I don't know.
It was so bad, man.
No, I see the glimpses in Amen Thompson for sure.
I was talking about Reed Shepherd was so bad.
Oh yeah. No. Yes, he was.
I thought he was like, I can't get over every time he's on the court. I'm like, what are they doing?
He was not good. And look, no, the Rockets bench overall was just
terrible,
awful, right? And that's a problem, right? You need to get more. You get up 124 points, you go to double overtime, and Reed Shepherd is 3 of 11, leading the bench with 9 points. And you get a couple of timely buckets here or there, but no, they need more. But as far as Amen Thompson, he was good, but he was also a -11, which is the team worst, and that's for a reason.
We've been talking a lot about this, but let's go over to Locked On Rockets for Jackson's take.
The Houston Rockets falling to the OKC Thunder in a double overtime thriller on the opening night of the NBA season. What's up? This is Jackson Gatlin, host of Locked On Rockets. This felt like a Western Conference Finals preview any way you slice it. It felt like a heavyweight bout between the Rockets and Thunder in this game. Unfortunately, the Rockets coming up just a little bit short. You could tell throughout the game, and especially in those crunch time moments at the end of regulation, at the end of the first overtime, at the end of the second overtime, not having their floor general, not having Fred VanVleet out there certainly hurting this team, but some absolutely impressive performances across the board. Alperen Sengun played out of his mind, looking like an MVP caliber candidate right out of the gate. 39 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, big shot after big shot, a career high 5 made 3-pointers in this game. And then elsewhere for the Rockets, Kevin Durant put up numbers, 23 points, 9 of 16 shooting, but kind of shied away from the big moments in this one. And that's what the Rockets went out and got Kevin Durant to do. They got him to be their go-to scorer, their crunch time leader, the guy to get you tough buckets in close games like this one. And whether it was the Thunder defense stifling him or him just wanting, Alperen Sengun to feel empowered to continue to play out of his mind, these are the moments that Kevin Durant needs to be able to step up more for moving forward this season for this Houston Rockets team.
Yeah, that was an incredible millennial pause by Jackson right there at the start of that video. Like, I was uncomfortable for a moment there, but he kind of hit on some of the same things that we were kind of saying about this one. Go give Locked On Rockets a listen for more on that perspective here. John, you want to play a little real or fake before we talk about the next game?
Oh, yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Let's hit the music.
Is this real or fake? Just ask John and Jake.
The music's key on this, right? Because real or fake, NBC nailed their first broadcast.
Yeah, baby. Yes. Nailed it. Nailed it.
It's very real. It was good.
It was good. You know why it was good to me anyway? It was good to see a group of people who knew who was playing, who enjoyed the game, who were excited for this game, and didn't really complain about how the game was played. They analyzed it. They broke it down. They told us what happened. And, we got cool things. And we got like a little fun element, like the starting introductions.
That was great.
Right? Like
Great.
That makes it feel bigger. That makes it feel good. Like it's kind of a cool little element. I like it. I love the broadcast.
It just felt like an event. Like it's, you and I have covered a couple of season openers before, not last year, but previous years we've done that. It didn't feel like this. This felt like a big deal, like kind of something special. Maybe that's like the nostalgia in you and I feeling it a little bit too, right? Even when they did that open, it's like hit the music and Round Ball Rock starts to play.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh yeah. I'm like, This is awesome. Like I'm digging this here. The Jordan interview at halftime of the first game was great. Like I just thought they crushed it truthfully on this night.
Yeah, no, I think they actually, like, NBC listened to what fans have been saying about broadcasts. And, I'm curious to see what Amazon does, because I think Amazon, and I've talked to some of the Amazon people, I think they are in that same kind of mold where they've heard it, they understand it, and I think they're going to respond in kind. But if the NBC broadcast is an indication of how the NBA wants these games broadcast, I'm happy. I am so happy. No, I cannot stress enough.
It was great. It was great.
How happy I am to just have analysts and knowledgeable and just tell me what's going right, what's going wrong in this game, so I can feel smarter about this as a fan.
Or you could just come to Lockdown NBA Game Night, where we're going to cover every game, every night, the whole season long, and give you the analysis that you need to. And speaking of analysis, let's look at the Golden State Warriors beating the Los Angeles Lakers coming up here next. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night is brought to you by Rugiet. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. And we've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired. It happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little support. And that's where Rugiet comes in. Rugiet.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rugiet makes it to get started, right? You just makes it easy to get started. You just connect with a board certified doctor And it's all 100% online. No awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. And if prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly to your door. The process is fast, simple, and private, and it's all handled by real doctors. It's about confidence, connection, and getting back to the moments that matters. So visit rugiet.com/LockedOnNBA to get 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com/LockedOnNBA. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNBA so they know we sent you. Rugiet, stop making excuses and start making moves. And thank you for making Locked On NBA Game Night your first listen today and every day. We are here 7 days a week covering every single game across the association this season. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. For your second listen, make it Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Draft season's over, but you still want to win your league with waiver wire pickups, smart trades to make. Josh Lloyd, the GOAT, is going to make you a smarter NBA fan while helping you win your league and bragging rights. Make Locked On Fantasy Basketball your second listen today. All right, John, while the first game was just... Yeah, that was the main course. We had pretty good second game here with the Golden State Warriors beating the Los Angeles Lakers 119-109. Steph Curry outlasting Luka Doncic. Let's go to Locked On Warriors for their take.
Luka Doncic did his best to keep the Lakers in this game with 43 points, but you are not beating the Golden State Warriors shorthanded without LeBron James when the Dubs have a performance like they had tonight. It was well-rounded from a bunch of different players, starting with Jimmy Butler, who led the team with 31 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, got to the line a bunch of times. The exact number 16, even more impressive, hit every single free throw. He was my player of the game. Steph Curry hit the biggest shot of the game late. He had 23. Jonathan Kuminga was one of the best facilitators in the game. He had 17, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. He was just awesome, consistently making the right play, had a ton of hustle, looked extremely confident out there. Draymond Green hit a clutch 3 late. Buddy Hield had a stretch where he hit 3 threes in like 90 seconds. It felt like Hield had 17 points. That secret sauce where Buddy hits shots and the Warriors win looks like it's carried over into this season. 119 for the Dubs, 109 for the Lakers. That's 1 on the board. Golden State 1-0. I got the post-game show live on Locked On Warriors YouTube.
Now let's get the Lakers perspective.
This is Andy Kamenetsky, co-host of the Locked On Lakers podcast, and the Lakers lose their season opener 119-109 to the Warriors in LA. 43 points for Luka Doncic, 17 of 27 from the field, 12 rebounds, 9 assists. Austin Reeves had 26 points, but a lot of defensive breakdowns for the Lakers. 11 missed free throws, 19 turnovers, and a 25% clip from behind the arc played a big role in dooming the Lakers. Plus, you could just see the difference in cohesion and synergy between the Lakers and the Warriors, a team that have spent a lot more time together. Still a lot of work left for the Lakers over the course of the season. For more Lakers coverage, make sure you're watching Locked On Lakers on YouTube and listening wherever you get your podcasts.
So my big takeaway from this game was the Golden State Warriors just looked like the Golden State Warriors, right? Steph Curry was Steph Curry, 23 points. He hit that dagger 3 late in that one too. They shared the ball. It was moving. They had tons of cuts and off-ball movement. Like they just looked like themselves. And you add in that kind of like dog kind of player in Jimmy Butler, and it seems like a really good fit.
Well, yes. And, you know, I think the one little pushback that I have is that, yes, everything you said is correct. It's also the first, it's also game 1.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, yeah, Jimmy Butler, he better play great in the first game of the season, but we haven't had time for him to wear down. We haven't had time for him to break down. We haven't had time for, you know, whatever other, like, you know, Steph Curry to get tired, which he never seems to do. But the little things that an older team tends to suffer, like, yeah, you're going to look great on opening night, but as the season goes on, is that going to be there? So, but look, again, when you're a good team, you need something from everybody. The third quarter belonged to Jonathan Kuminga. that, the third quarter Warriors, it's their thing. So Kuminga comes in, and then as was mentioned, Buddy Hield has a little stretch where it's like boom, boom, boom. You're like, oh my
He
God.
couldn't stop hitting threes at all.
Like it's just instant. And when you get that kind of shooting, contrast that with the bad shooting on the Lakers. The Lakers just never, if it wasn't for Luka being a god, this would have gotten away from them very, very quickly.
They were down big. They had a kind of run to get back into this one, make it close before the Warriors kind of slammed the door on this one. Let's go over to the Lakers side of it here. 43 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists for Luka Doncic in this one. Yeah, we got help from Austin Reeves, 26 points on the night, and like that was it.
That was it. And you need more from DeAndre Ayton. That's going to be a big storyline all season long. Ayton
he does not inspire confidence.
No, he does not.
He just looks soft, man.
Look, is exactly what I was going to say. He looks like kind of like, I'm just happy to be here. Like he does not look like the tough kind of rim roller that Doncic needs. You got something from Marcus Smart, but like it's funny because I'm watching all the Boston people go like, this was such a Marcus Smart game.
Oh yes,
he had a stretch in that was the first quarter, second quarter where it was
first.
like it was draw the offensive foul and then commit a flagrant foul and then
second quarter. Yeah, that's when it was. Like it was just the Marcus Smart experience all of a sudden where like giveth and taketh away, right?
Yeah, and he got 4 quick fouls because it seemed like to me, having watched Marcus for the majority of his career, he's a very smart player and he can see like we're not on their level right now. So I need to go in there and make crazy plays happen so we can have a chance. That's Marcus Smart's mentality. So and it didn't work because he got the 4 fouls and he had to sit out for a long stretch, and the defensive breakdowns killed the Lakers. But when you get outscored by, what is it? They missed 9, so 27 points at the 3-point line, and then another 9 points at the free throw line. So 36-point deficit at the 3-point line and the free throw line. That's hard to make up. You're not going to hit enough twos to make up for that kind of difference. There. It's just you're up against it, and the fact that they only lost that game by 10 is kind of incredible because they also were able to force turnovers. And I say force lightly. I think it was more the Warriors got really, really sloppy, but they 19 turnovers for the Warriors for 23 points. The Lakers got more points off turnovers, even though turnovers were a problem for the Lakers. So that's the only thing that kept them close.
Yeah, it was really that, but I don't know. The Warriors impressed me. You make a good point though earlier about them potentially still looking washed later. Al Horford did not look good. He could barely jump in this game, it seemed like at times. So like you can kind of start to see that there is a cause for concern of like, cool, it's game 1. You should look fresh. You should look good. And the Warriors have kind of done this before and then faded a little bit. We'll see. Maybe make Locked On Warriors your second listen today. That's going to do it for this episode of Locked On NBA Game Night, the opening night of the NBA season. It was a lot of fun. We hope you will subscribe and follow us all season long, wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as well. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. On Wednesdays, I'm your co-host, Jake Madison, at Nola Jake on Twitter, and the host of Locked On Pelicans.
And I am John Karalis, at John_Karalis on Twitter, host of Locked On Celtics.
Appreciate y'all listening. We'll be back with y'all next week.